I found out Thursday afternoon when my cousin texted me a photo from Dad's celebratory lunch. The caption, "New restaurant opening. Beach House Collateral," came through. I stared at my phone in my office at Goldman Sachs, where I'd worked as a senior investment analyst for 6 years. The beach house they'd just pledged, without asking, without telling me, I'd purchased in 2018 for $890,000. Renovated for $120,000. Paid off completely in 2022. My parents had contributed exactly $0. But they had a guest bedroom there. They'd spent 2 weeks there last summer. They'd posted photos on Facebook calling it, "our family retreat." Apparently usage equals ownership in their minds. And ownership equals collateral rights. I didn't call them. I didn't drive to the restaurant to make a scene. I opened my laptop and searched First Harbor Bank's commercial lending department. Found the loan officer's name in the electronic filing, Patricia Vance. I called her direct line. "Ms. Vance, this is Rachel Chin. I understand my parents just secured a business loan using property at 2847 Pacific Coast Highway as collateral. Yes, the loan closed this morning. Is there a problem? I'm the sole owner of that property. I didn't authorize its use as collateral. I'd like to speak with your legal compliance team immediately." Silence. Then, "Please hold." The ghost ledger. While on hold, I opened a spreadsheet. I called it, the Ghost Ledger Non-Financial Costs. Summer 2019. Parents hosted their friends at Beach House for entire August. Never asked permission. Told everyone, "our place in Malibu." Cost. Ownership acknowledgement erased. Thanksgiving 2020. Asked them to stop giving out the door code. Mom said, "Don't be paranoid." Found neighbors using the deck. Cost. Boundary respect ignored. April 2021. Parents borrowed house for Dad's business meetings. Left $1,200 catering bill unpaid. You can afford it. Cost. Financial consideration dismissed. December 2022. Paid off $680,000 mortgage early. Told parents I owned it free and clear. Dad's response, "Smart move for the family asset." Not MY asset. Family asset. Cost. Individual achievement collectivized. Monthly from 2018 to 2024. Paid $4,200 property taxes, $800 insurance, $600 maintenance. 72 months. Total, $403,200. Parents paid $0. But called it, "our beach house," 127 times on social media. Cost. Credit for my investment stolen. February 2024. Sister told her friends, "Rachel's little beach cottage that we all use." Property worth $1.1 million called Little Cottage. My Wall Street salary called Doing Okay. Cost. Success minimization systematic. 43 entries total. Each one a moment I chose peace over truth. I'd been operating on the gambler's fallacy. Feeding the slot machine of family accommodation, convinced the jackpot of respect was coming. One more coin. One more silence. One more boundary violated without protest. The machine was designed to take everything and pay nothing. Patricia Vance transferred me to Marcus Holloway, Senior Counsel for First Harbor Bank. "Ms. Chin, I'm reviewing the loan file now. Your parents submitted a notarized affidavit claiming joint ownership of the Malibu property with authorization to pledge it as collateral. I'm the sole owner. I have the deed, title insurance and 6 years of solo tax payments. They forged that authorization. That's a serious allegation. It's a provable fact. I can have documentation to you within the hour. I'm also filing a police report for fraud and forgery." His voice changed. Professional caution replaced casual inquiry. "Ms. Chen, if your documentation proves sole ownership, this loan was originated on fraudulent representations. We'll need to freeze the disbursement immediately. The loan already closed. My cousin saw them celebrating. Closed, yes. But the $180,000 hasn't been wired to your father's business account yet. That happens tomorrow morning." Keyboard clicking. "Ms. Chin, I'm placing a legal hold on this transaction right now. Can you email me your ownership documents? Sending them in 5 minutes." I hung up and compiled everything. Original deed, title insurance policy, mortgage satisfaction letter, property tax payments showing Rachel Chen sole owner for 72 consecutive months. Homeowner's insurance under my name only. I attached a brief note. I am the sole legal owner. I did not authorize collateral use. Any signature purporting to be mine is fraudulent. Please investigate immediately. Sent at 2:47 p.m. At 3:15 p.m. Marcus Holloway called back. Miss Chen, your documentation is irrefutable. You're the sole owner. The authorization your parents submitted has several irregularities. The notary seal doesn't match state records, and the signature doesn't match your exemplars from the original loan documents we pulled. What happens now? The loan is void. We're required to report this to the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. The loan broker who originated this, Sandra Kellerman, she's facing a professional conduct investigation. If she failed to verify ownership or knew about the fraudulent documentation, she could lose her license. And my parents? We're filing a fraud report with the Los Angeles County District Attorney. Whether they pursue criminal charges depends on intent evidence. But civilly, your parents signed documents claiming ownership rights they don't have. That's actionable. I want a restraining order preventing them from using my property or name in any financial transaction. I'll connect you with our litigation department. They'll help you file. Procedural justice. The machinery of consequences moved with clinical precision. Thursday, 4 p.m. I hired Elizabeth Morrison, a real estate attorney specializing in property fraud. She filed an emergency petition for a temporary restraining order. Friday, 9:30 a.m. Judge Patricia Okonkwo granted the TRO. My parents were prohibited from representing ownership, pledging as collateral, or claiming any interest in property located at 2847 Pacific Coast Highway. Friday, 11 a.m. First Harbor Bank sent formal notice to my parents. Loan application denied due to fraudulent collateral documentation. $2,400 application fee forfeited. Legal action pending. Friday, 2 p.m. Sandra Kellerman, the loan broker, received notice from the California DFPI. Investigation opened into loan #HB 2024-8847 regarding failure to verify collateral ownership and potential complicity in fraud. Friday, 4:30 p.m. My father called me. I didn't answer. Friday, 4:33 p.m. My mother called. Voicemail. Rachel, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. Call us immediately. Friday, 4:45 p.m. My sister called. You're destroying Dad's business over paperwork? He needs this loan. I texted back. He needs $180,000. He doesn't need to commit fraud using my property to get it. Monday, 10 a.m. Los Angeles County DA's office contacted me. They were reviewing the case. Detective James Park wanted my statement. Monday, 2 p.m. I spent 90 minutes with Detective Park. Provided all documentation. Signed a sworn statement. He asked if I wanted to press charges. Yes, I said. They forged documents to steal $1.1 million in collateral value from me. If they'd succeeded, I could have lost my house to their business failure. Tuesday, the forensic document examiner confirmed the notary seal was fake. The signature was a simulation attempt, with 12 points of divergence from my actual signature. The notary listed, Maria Santos, confirmed she'd never notarized anything for me and filed her own complaint about seal forgery. Wednesday, Sandra Kellerman was suspended by the California DFPI pending investigation. Preliminary findings showed she'd originated 4 other loans with inadequate collateral verification. My parents' case was the catalyst. Thursday, my parents showed up at my office. Security called up. Miss Chen, your parents are in the lobby requesting to see you. Tell them I'm unavailable. They say it's urgent. Family emergency. The emergency is their fraud investigation. I have nothing to discuss. They waited in the lobby for 40 minutes before leaving. That evening my mother sent an email. Rachel, you're tearing this family apart over a misunderstanding. Your father's restaurant, his dream, is collapsing because you're being vindictive. We would never have lost your house. We're family. Family shares. Call off the lawyers and let's talk like adults. I forwarded it to Elizabeth Morrison with a note. Evidence of continued belief they had rights to my property. She replied, "This helps our case significantly. They still don't accept wrongdoing. My father tried a different approach. He called from my aunt's phone. Rachel, please. I'll lose everything. The restaurant lease is signed. Equipment is ordered. I need this loan. You needed $180,000. You didn't need to forge my signature and pledge my house without permission. I thought you'd understand. You make good money, you don't need that house full-time. We're family. Dad, I make $340,000 a year. I bought that house with my own money. I renovated it. I paid it off. You contributed nothing. Usage doesn't equal ownership. $340,000? His voice went quiet. You make. I thought you were doing okay, but. You thought I was doing okay, so you could treat my $1 million asset as your emergency fund? I paused. You never asked what I make. You never asked if I'd help with the restaurant. You just decided you had the right to pledge my property as collateral. But we're family. Family asks. Family respects boundaries. Family doesn't commit fraud. I took a breath. You forged documents, Dad. The DA is reviewing criminal charges. Your loan broker might lose her license. You did this to yourself. He hung up. Consequences. The California DFPI suspended Sandra Kellerman's broker license for 2 years. She'd failed to verify ownership on multiple loans. My case was Exhibit A in their enforcement action. The DA declined to file criminal charges. Insufficient evidence of intent to permanently deprive me of property, but noted the civil fraud was clear. My parents settled with First Harbor Bank. Paid $8,500 to cover investigation costs and legal fees. The settlement included a permanent ban from doing business with any First Harbor branch. The restaurant never opened. Without the loan, my father couldn't afford the equipment. The lease was forfeited. He lost $24,000 in deposits. My mother blamed me in a Facebook post. Sometimes family betrayal comes from unexpected places. 17 relatives liked it. I didn't respond. Elizabeth Morrison sent a cease and desist letter prohibiting them from discussing the legal matter publicly. The post was deleted. My sister tried intervention. Mom and Dad made a mistake, but you've punished them enough. They committed fraud. The punishment came from the legal system, not from me. I just refused to let them steal my property. They weren't stealing. They forged authorization documents to pledge my house as collateral for their loan. That's textbook theft. The only reason they didn't succeed is because I stopped them. She stopped calling after that. 6 months later. I'm sitting on the deck of my Malibu beach house. The one my parents tried to use as collateral. The one they'd called our family retreat, while contributing nothing to its purchase, maintenance, or taxes. The Pacific stretches endlessly before me. The house is worth $1.2 million now. Fully paid off. Fully mine. My phone stays quiet these days. No emergency calls. No assumptions that my assets are family resources. No expectations that I'll accommodate whatever they decide. The silence used to feel like abandonment. Now it feels like protection. Last month, a Goldman colleague asked if I regretted how everything unfolded. I thought about the ghost ledger. 43 instances where I chose family peace over self-respect. I thought about my father's voice. You don't need that house full-time. I thought about Marcus Holloway. This loan was originated on fraudulent representations. No, I told my colleague. I regret not protecting my boundaries sooner. Elizabeth Morrison sent me the final restraining order last week. Permanent injunction preventing my parents from making financial representations about my property. Legal language that says what I should have said years ago. This is mine and you have no claim to it. The beach house stands solid behind me. Every payment mine. Every decision mine. Every right to it defended and won. I've started hosting friends here. People who ask before visiting. Who respect that this is my home, not a collective family asset to be pledged, borrowed, or claimed. The property isn't collateral. It never was. And the court order ensures it never will be. The account is closed. The boundaries are enforced. And I am finally secure. The text came at 9:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Changed the locks. This place suits me better than wherever you're crashing. You can visit when I'm home. I was sitting in my downtown office 23 floors up, reviewing architectural plans for a hospital expansion. The phone buzzed against the glass desk. I read it twice. Then I opened my banking app and checked the automatic payment that had cleared 4 days earlier. $3,200 to Coastal Properties Management. 37th consecutive month. My sister Emma had asked to stay at my beach condo, temporarily, 3 years ago. Her marriage had imploded. She needed space to heal. The condo sat empty most months anyway. I only used it for weekend decompression. I'd said yes within an hour. I hadn't said yes to her claiming ownership. I forwarded the text to my phone's archive, then called Mira Chin at Coastal Properties. She answered on the second ring. Mr. Reeves, perfect timing. I was about to call you. There's been a situation with Unit 7C. I know, I said. My sister changed the locks. Silence. Then, without your authorization? Completely. I'll meet you there in 40 minutes. Bring your lease agreement and ID. I didn't tell Emma I was coming. I didn't text my mother, who'd been calling Emma's arrangement a nice sister-brother living situation for months, as if we were college roommates instead of a property owner and an unauthorized occupant. I pulled the original lease from my file cabinet, grabbed my building access records and drove to the coast. The condo building rose white and clean against the Atlantic, all glass and angles. I'd bought Unit 7C in 2019 with my first architectural bonus, $385,000 for 800 square feet of ocean-facing piece. I'd furnished it minimally: gray couch, teak dining table, king bed with white linens that smelled like salt air and expensive detergent. Emma had redecorated. The lobby security guard Marcus looked up from his desk and smiled. Mr. Reeves, good to see you. You here to check on 7C? Something like that. Your sister had a locksmith up there this morning. New boyfriend too, I think. Big guy, lots of luggage. I know. I signed the visitor log out of habit even though I owned the place. Mira from Coastal Properties is meeting me. Marcus's smile faded. Oh, that kind of visit. Mira arrived 6 minutes later, carrying a tablet and a folder thick with documentation. She was 50-something, competent, the kind of property manager who remembered every tenant's name and never missed a rent check. She'd been collecting my monthly payment for 3 years without a single issue. Before we go up, she said, I need to confirm. Did you authorize Emma Reeves to change locks or claim residency? No. Did you sign any documentation transferring ownership or lease rights? No. Do you want her removed from the property? I thought about the ghost ledger I'd been building unconsciously for 3 years. Every family dinner where Emma described her place by the beach, while I sat silent. Every holiday where Mom praised Emma's beach lifestyle, and asked me if I was still doing that building stuff. The time Emma posted Instagram photos of my living room that I'd paid a designer $12,000 to furnish. The weekend I'd driven down unannounced and Emma had made me wait in the lobby for 20 minutes because she was busy. Yes, I said. I want her removed. We rode the elevator to the 7th floor. The hallway smelled like expensive candles. Not the cedar and sandalwood I'd chosen, but something synthetic and floral. Emma's taste. Mira knocked. Firm, professional 3 times. The door opened. Emma stood there in yoga pants and a tank top, hair in a messy bun, holding a coffee mug that said, Beach Vibes Only. Behind her, I could see a man on my couch, scrolling through his phone. What are you doing here? Emma's eyes flicked between us. I told you I was busy this week. I'm Mira Chin from Coastal Properties Management, Mira said, her voice pleasant and absolutely immovable. I need to verify the lease agreement for Unit 7C. I've lived here 3 years, Emma said. My brother lets me stay here. It's basically a family arrangement. So you don't have a signed lease? Mira asked. I don't need one. It's family. Mira opened her folder. According to our records, Noah Reeves is the sole leaseholder for this unit. Monthly rent of $3,200, paid consistently via automatic withdrawal for 37 months. No additional occupants listed. No sublease agreement on file. Emma's grip tightened on the door frame. He gave me permission. Verbal permission, Mira said, doesn't authorize you to change locks or claim residency rights. He turned to me. Mr. Reeves, do you want to enter your property? Yes. Emma didn't move. You can't just kick me out. Actually, Mira said, he can. You're not a tenant. You have no lease. You've changed locks without authorization, which constitutes illegal lockout of the legal resident. I can call the police now, or you can allow Mr. Reeves access to his property and we can discuss voluntary departure. This is insane. Emma pulled out her phone. I'm calling Mom. Call whoever you want, I said. My voice sounded different. Calm, factual, empty of the pleading tone I'd used for 3 years. But Myra's right. I own this condo. I've paid every mortgage payment, every HOA fee, every utility bill. You live here because I allowed it. I'm no longer allowing it. The boyfriend emerged from the living room, all 6'3" of him, wearing a tank top and aggressive confusion. What's going on? This is Noah, Emma said. My brother. He's being ridiculous about me living in his spare condo. It's not spare, I said. I use it. I pay for it. And you just told a locksmith you owned it. Mira was already texting on her phone. Building security is on their way. Mr. Reeves, do you want to file a formal trespass complaint? I watched Emma's face cycle through emotions. Shock, anger, calculation, panic. This was the moment she realized the slot machine wasn't paying out. That 3 years of feeding it coins, of tolerating condescension, of funding her beach lifestyle while she called it her place, had reached jackpot time. And the jackpot was empty. I'll need 15 minutes to pack, Emma said finally. You have 30, Mira said. Building policy during disputes. After that, security will escort you out and we'll arrange supervised property retrieval later. 2 security guards arrived. Marcus and a younger woman named Jennifer I'd met once when reviewing building access protocols. They positioned themselves politely but firmly in the hallway. Emma and her boyfriend started throwing clothes into suitcases, moving with the frantic energy of people who just realized their free ride ended at the exact speed of institutional authority. I stood in my own doorway and watched. The condo looked different. She'd replaced my minimalist art with beach-themed signs that said, "Seize the day," and "Sandy Toes, Salty Kisses." My teak table had water rings. The gray couch had a stain shaped like Australia. Mira stood beside me making notes on her tablet. You'll want to change the locks again after this. I recommend a smart lock system with access codes you control. Also, I should mention, your lease technically prohibits long-term guests beyond 14 days without written approval from management. I didn't know that. Most owners don't until situations like this happen. She glanced at Emma hauling a suitcase past us. For what it's worth, you handled this correctly. Documentation, proper channels, minimal emotion. I've seen property disputes drag on for months when people try to solve them through family conversations instead of legal processes. 27 minutes later, Emma and her boyfriend stood in the hallway surrounded by 7 suitcases, 2 cardboard boxes, and a potted plant I'd never seen before. You're really doing this, Emma said. Over a condo. Over respect, I corrected. Over boundaries. Over you telling a locksmith you own something I bought with my bonus while you were telling Mom I do that building stuff. Mom's going to be furious. Mom doesn't pay my mortgage. I watched them walk to the elevator. Emma turned once, her face a mixture of anger and something else. Maybe the first recognition that I wasn't the accommodating little brother anymore. That the person who'd let her stay for 3 years had also documented every payment, every authorization, every boundary she'd crossed. The elevator doors closed. Mira handed me a new key. I had maintenance rekey it while they packed. Old codes are deactivated. I'll email you the new access information within the hour. I walked into my condo, my actual legal documented condo, and opened the sliding glass door to the balcony. The Atlantic stretched gray-blue and endless, wind carrying salt and possibility. The afternoon sun hit the water at angles that made my architect brain appreciate light physics. My phone buzzed. Mom's name appeared. I declined the call. Then I blocked Emma's number, screenshotted the blocking confirmation, and filed it in a folder labeled 7C documentation. Mira appeared in the doorway. One more thing. Your sister mentioned to the locksmith that she'd been paying some bills. I checked our records. You've paid every cent of rent, utilities, and HOA fees. If she tries to claim financial contribution, we have 3 years of documentation proving otherwise. Thank you. Part of the job. She smiled. Though between us, this was the most straightforward property recovery I've handled. Most people cave when family cries. You just let the systems work. After she left, I sat on my stained couch and opened my banking app. Pulled up 3 years of automatic payments. $3,200 monthly. 37 months. $118,400 total. Not including utilities, internet, HOA fees, property taxes, mortgage interest. I treated my family like a slot machine. Feeding coins, waiting for jackpot of basic respect. The machine kept taking. I kept feeding it. Convincing myself the next pull would pay out. But slot machines are designed for the house to win. I wasn't the house anymore. I was the player walking away. 3 months later, my savings account showed numbers I hadn't seen in years. The $3,200 monthly drain had reversed into accumulation. I'd taken 2 weekend trips to the condo. Actual restful visits, not tense family negotiations. The seize the day signs were gone. The couch was professionally cleaned. The water rings sanded out. Emma had texted from a new number once. "You really think you won?" I'd replied, "I think I stopped losing." Mom had called twice, then given up. Apparently Emma was renting a studio apartment 40 minutes inland, working retail to cover rent her boyfriend wouldn't split. The beach lifestyle had evaporated at the exact speed of actual financial responsibility. I stood on my balcony last Saturday, watching sunset paint the Atlantic copper and gold. The silence felt different than it had 3 years ago. Not empty, but full of space I'd reclaimed, of boundaries I'd enforced, of systems that worked when I stopped trying to solve institutional problems with family emotions. The condo was mine. The mortgage was mine. The peace was mine. And I was no longer paying for anyone else's beach vibes.